Hello.
Well, hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm just trying to balance to better light. This is the virtual office.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, it's our life now.
Yeah.
So it's Dr. Bernstein, is that right?
Yes. I'm the head of the lab.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So Sarah
Well,
is a trainee in my group.
great. Yeah, I mean, we'll keep this kind of informal and relaxed, and I've done a few of these with our volunteers around the country, so it's usually a lot of fun.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. So where are you based out of?
I am in Michigan.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I work for our global HQ out of Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was
But
in Atlanta
I'm,
not too long ago, and I
oh,
got
nice.
I invited my I have an ACS grant too.
Oh,
One of the research scholar awards. So
oh,
I invited
nice.
my program officer. I don't know if you know the officers there, but
No,
yes,
not too much.
yeah.
So,
So
but we do have a couple of our staff from the research team joining us because they wanted to listen in and say
oh,
hi
okay.
too. So I don't know if you know. Well, you probably know Joseph Cotter.
I don't think so. I mean, I know
Okay.
the name.
Yeah. So Joe and Zach Morris are going to join us from ACS also.
Oh, okay.
And then I did let a couple of the local mission staff that work with the facility know that we're having this, and so they
Yeah.
may join too. But our
Okay.
main
Yeah.
focus will be on the volunteer Daryl and his group when they join.
Absolutely. I know the local,
Oh, good,
our local group. Yeah.
good.
So I come in. They come in for tours and.
Yeah, I imagine Daryl and some of his team members will want to do a tour when they can later in the year.
Oh yeah. Are they based in
Um,
Pittsburgh? I couldn't figure that out.
yeah, they are, and that's what was unique about this situation because most of the time, and I'll get into the explanation of this award and the naming of the grant too.
Oh.
But we've done like 17 of these around the country, and this is the only one that they've actually been in the same city. So
Oh, that's cool.
it doesn't usually work out that way. So this is great.
Yeah, Pittsburgh proud. Let me make sure my 7-year-old is doing school that she's supposed to. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right, let's just watch it, please. All right. She told me the reading was boring, so she's watching cartoons.
So there's Daryl. He's joining now. Hi, Daryl.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I guess you're good. You're probably a pro at doing all these kinds of calls, aren't you?
I've in the last 4 months, I've taken a crash course learning in Zoom. That's for sure.
Yeah, my wife does this with her. She works from home and she does that. But I said this is like my second one, and yeah, they're kind of interesting. It's a good
Good.
thing though. It is.
Do you have anyone else from your team joining us, or?
James is gonna. He had to head home because his wife had to do something. He has to take over babysitting, so he's gonna be like real close. Like he might just all of a sudden pop on and.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out for him to
Okay.
admit him when he joins.
Alrighty.
Um, got another minute, so we'll let everybody join.
So can I just expand this to full screen, I guess, can I?
Yes.
Oh, wow, you're in my face. Wow. Good stuff. Yeah, we've been nonstop through COVID. We just actually been busier than ever before. 7 days a week, just trying to keep food, going to the grocery stores.
Ah, okay, I think we're going to have nearly everybody now. So just got another person joining.
Cool.
All right. So Dr. Hango is connecting. All right. Well, I think we got nearly everybody. We may have a few others join, but thank you everybody for hopping on the call today. We've done a few of these, and I'll get into just the highlight of the award and how the grants are named by our Relay for Life teams around the country. And then we'll hand it over to Daryl after that. And Daryl, if you could just give us a highlight when we call on you about your team and where you guys are from.
Yeah.
And then we'll hand it over to Dr. Hango. And did I pronounce that right? Yeah. All right. Dr. Hango, you're on mute, so I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I see the little red microphone.
Yeah.
There you are. Gotcha. Okay. So we've got a number of people on the line right now. I'm Steve Consdorf. I work for our peer-to-peer engagement team at Global HQ. Specifically, I work a lot with Relay for Life and our top performers around the country. We have Daryl, who is the team captain from the Naturals, and he'll explain his team in just a minute. And he may have another person joining from his team. When they have, he's scheduled to join, so he had to run home. So hopefully he'll be on real soon. And then we have our two researchers. So we have Dr. Sarah Hango, who is working directly on this grant. And then we have Dr. Carrie Ann Bernstein, who oversees the department that Dr. Hango's grant rests in. Did I get that correctly? Close enough?
Yeah, close enough.
And we have Joe Cotter. You see him up there too. Joe is part of our research department at Global HQ, and he's joined our call to listen in and give us some insight. And one of his partners on that team, Zach Morris, may be joining us if he's able to break away from his other meetings. And then we do have a couple other people on the line from our local staff, our local mission staff in the area. Amy and who's the other one? I can't quite make out that name. I'm sorry. Casey, that's it. So welcome, both of you. You work directly, and you may already know these researchers in some capacity. So we're glad you guys were able to join the call too. Specifically, we're on this call for the Hero of Research Award. So the Hero Research Award is given out to our top performing Relay for Life teams that have raised more than $166,000 in the year. And we've only had, so of the thousands of Relay for Life teams across the country, we've only had 17 teams hit that level. So it's a pretty prestigious award. It's a very elite group of volunteers that do a fantastic job of really raising funds for our mission year after year. And so what happens is this award actually came from a group of volunteers. So a group of volunteers got together and we're trying to figure out a way how they could connect our top performing Relay for Life volunteers around the country directly to the mission of the American Cancer Society and really what we do best. And so this award was born from that. And what happens is once a team hits that $166,000 level, they are given an opportunity to place a name on a approved research grant from the American Cancer Society. And these are postdoctoral grants. So these are new researchers launching their career and getting going in their field. And that's really is exciting. This grant was given, looking up the exact name, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The name of the grant, I apologize.
I can give it to you.
I had it right in front of me a minute ago. The Gabby Galano and the Naturals of UNFI Hope Research Grant. And Daryl, we'll give you an opportunity to kind of explain that name in just a minute. But again, we've only given 17 of these grants away. I got to meet with Daryl, it was like August last year or October last year, around that time frame.
Yeah.
It was in the fall, and you had mentioned that you guys, for the first time, had achieved that level, and it was really exciting to let you know that your team achieved the grant, the opportunity for this award. So it all kind of came together after that, and then we handed the opportunity over to you, and you guys are in the same city, right?
We're located in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so Daryl, there's not really. This is the first one we've actually had where we had the team and the grant working in the same city. So that's pretty outstanding.
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
And so usually they're kind of separated by a state or two states. So so now, Daryl, take a few minutes and just kind of highlight your team, what you guys do to raise funds, and why you chose this name for the grant.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is quite an honor, to say the least. We're called The Naturals. I work for a company called United Natural Foods. We are the largest distributor of organic and natural products in North America. And we started this team about, I'd say, 12 years ago. And it basically, the team had started as a relay team prior to being given the name The Naturals. And it was just a group of people that, and actually the first year I wasn't even on it. It was just, it wasn't even really a fundraising team. It was just a participation team that would go to the event and set up a tent and walk the track. And so the first year that I came on, there was no money raised at all. And we thought, well, what can we do with this? There's obviously something else we need to do than just go to this event and walk a track. And I know some people would raise money based on how many laps they would make and all, but we didn't really, it's not that we weren't lazy people or anything. We just weren't real exercise hounds. So we weren't there to just do all the walking. We thought we'd like to really try to raise some money. So the company we work with has products. The vendors have lines that they discontinue, whether it's they've changed sizes, they've changed the color of the package, anything along the line where they just say, okay, they want to move the new product on. So they donate, and normally it would go to a food bank or a salvage company. And in the very beginning, we thought, well, maybe we can get our hands on that. And because I work with inventory control in my company, I get first look at this stuff. And so we started grabbing some of these products and went to the vendor and said, hey, we'd like to do this with Relay for Life. It's 501c3. And as soon as they heard that, they were all on board. So it started out real small with just a small tent in the middle of a track, a 10 by 10. And we took just a couple of pallets of product, and it sold so fast, we kind of knew we had a good deal here. So then for the entire next year, we would just collect product. And so in the beginning, it was basically just 1 year to the next, and we did it at a relay event. It was at a local Votech. But then we thought, well, we can do this in between these events as well, in between relay. So we started doing it in our parking lot at our building. And I mean, to make a long story short, our first year we raised $4,000. Last year was $166,000. And that's just in 11 short years. And it got to be such a community event. It wasn't just raising money for American Cancer and Relay, but we realized that the product that these people were buying, some folks, that was half a year's groceries. They'd save their money and they'd come and buy. And we'd sell this product pennies on the dollar. It was 2 for $1, 4 for $1, $1. And we'd sell cases of product really, really inexpensively because it was literally a donation from the vendor. And we gave 100% back to American Cancer. So there was no We didn't take any kind of marketing, any administrative fee or nothing. So the fact that we could donate 100% meant that we could pretty much grab anything that they were willing to donate. And it just grew to the point where we were taking truckloads to our last event. And it's just, the logistics has become phenomenal. And so our last event that we had, where the name came from, was in November of last year. And it just so happened that leading up to that, what we would do on the weekends, we'd sort all this product in an offsite building, because it would come to us in boxes and we'd have to break it down to the individual pieces, and we'd sell 4 bars of soap or you know, individual bottles of lotion or just food. But it was a lot of health and beauty aids as well, protein drinks, anything you can think was natural. So we would sort on the weekends. And so we developed probably about a core of about 25 people who Saturday after Saturday on their own time would come in and help us break this down. Thousands and thousands and thousands of hours were into this just by people. And now, obviously, while they were breaking down, and if they'd see something, they'd want to purchase it. Well, they got it for the same price that somebody else would. So that was the motivation. They worked for it, they saw it, they got to buy it, but I guarantee, you know, they couldn't buy everything we had. So at the end of the day, there was always 90% of the product that we were sorting was still there to give to Relay at the events. So just so happened that one mother had a friend in a local middle school, and her daughter went to school with a girl by the name of Gabby Galino. And she was middle schooler, 13 years old. Kind of hard to talk about, I'm sorry, but she's got quite a story. But she and her daughter said, we'd like to raise money for Gabby's family. She had just been diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it was just like 3 or 4 weeks before that. So they already realized that, you know, she had to come out of school. There was just a lot of things going on, and the family just really was struggling. Hey, James, I see you there. Now, I didn't see you before. If I missed something, please, he's my co-captain. So if I miss some details, he's good for details too. But anyway, so they said, we'd like to raise raise some funds. We want to do a bake sale. And we were doing it with my grandkids a sale or two prior to that. So I said, sure, we'll all pitch in, and whatever we raise, we give to the family. Well, they were hoping to raise a couple hundred, and I think we ended up raising $1,600 that particular event. The family was just astounded, but that particular event was so crowded that every time a group of people would come inside the building to do the shopping, I would get up in front of people on a big stack of pallets, and I got a chance to address everybody and say, you're here for Relay for Life, for American Cancer, but you're here also for Gabby Galino today. We give the whole speech, and, you know, people would just open their wallets a little bit more, which was really great. Especially with, you know, when you've got the bake sale sitting right there, and they had pictures. Middle schoolers, they just they got all sorts of pictures of Gabby, and had everything decorated, Gabby Strong, and they had wristbands and everything. And I've been wearing this wristband ever since last fall when this happened. So it got to the point where we just kind of adopted her. And she's still, as a matter of fact, she's in a hospital this weekend. She's been fighting the cancer, but she had a serious infection after chemo one time, and she spent 2 months in a hospital. It almost took her life. But this girl's just amazingly strong. So at this point, we thought, what better way to try to, you know, give somebody some acknowledgement, some encouragement. Everybody is volunteers. Got to really get on the email chain. We were constantly sending stuff around for prayer requests and stuff like that, just updates. So when we asked the family if we could do it, they were just touched immensely. And so, and I have yet to even meet the girl. This happened in October of last year, and I've yet to meet Gabby. All sorts of pictures on Facebook and all that, but found out she even went to my church, and I didn't even know it. It's a big church, but at the same time, I had no idea about that. So So right now, we're just waiting for the opportunity for her to be able to come out to one of these events. So with COVID this year, it's a little bit tough. We haven't had a chance to do. We had to cancel. We had an event scheduled for April. We had to cancel that one. We had a relay this year for June 19th. That's been pushed back to August. We're not even sure that's going to take place. But when we found out that we qualified this, I mean, we just went through the roof. Just didn't even realize. I remember going to a meeting in St. Louis to hear about this. You know, it was just where the top performers, as Steve said, top performers got together. And James had gone the year before representing our team. And then I went the next year. And I heard that as they talked about this potential to name a grant, but I never, at that time, we were only making $80,000 a year. So to even double that, we thought, no, that's just not going to happen. So you hear that and you just move on and do something else. And so when we found out that last year that we qualified, it was just unbelievable, just unbelievable. And so it's an honor. It's a privilege to be a part of. It's very humbling to be a part of this.
Thanks, Daryl. Well, you know, your team has been a partner with American Cancer Society for a long time now, and you guys are always just a fantastic team. And to have you guys achieve this grant was really something special. And the fact that you shared the grant with Gabby, I think is just amazing. I think it speaks volumes to the sense of community that you all have there and your commitment to fight cancer. So Daryl, James, thank you for everything you do and continue to do for the American Cancer Society. So we'll turn it over to Dr. Hengel, and we thought you would have an opportunity just kind of, you know, help us understand your grant a little bit more. They had a chance to look at it and get the brief on it, but you know, neither one of us are scientists or doctors, so we'd love to hear kind of what you're intending to do and what you're working on. And really, this is just kind of an introductory. We're hoping to create a, you know, they're going to be tied to this grant for the life of it. So we hope to kind of create, you know, a nice little communication, you know, maybe even when things settle down, a tour along those lines with some of the team members.
That'd be so great.
So that'd be fun. Yep.
Yeah, so, you know, this is just kind of an introduction to this future relationship. So we'll turn it over to you, Doctor.
All right. Sorry. I'm just really, really touched about all the work that Daryl and his team has done for in naming Gabby. I think that's as a scientist, we don't always get to interact with the people that are directly raising these funds and making a difference. And this is like made my year. So I'm very, it's really exciting. I'm really glad to be here and have the opportunity to speak to you today. So I want to just clarify one thing, which is I'm a postdoctoral fellow now in Kara's lab. So Kara is, my boss is the person who made this all possible. And I want to tell you a little bit about how I met her. I met her at a research conference in 2016. It was about a year and a half before I graduated, and I knew who Kara was a little bit, and I knew I wanted to be a postdoc, but when I met her, I was just really astounded at the person that she is. She really cares about her science and research, and she had this this whole research setup aiming at understanding who gets cancer and why we get it, so that hopefully she can ultimately play a role in preventing it in the first place. And so as soon as, you know, we met, I came and interviewed, I joined her lab, I knew I had made the right decision. And it's just been really, really amazing. And I think I'm gonna let Kara explain to you a little bit more about the grant specifically, since this is really this is her entire dream. She's made all of this possible. So I'll hand it over to you, Kara.
Okay, so I'm Kara Bernstein. I'm a professor at the University of Pittsburgh. And it's really a tremendous honor to talk to you. We are just very humbled by your commitment to cancer research. I'm an ACS also recipient for a Research Scholar Award. And Sarah obviously has her own grant, which is part of the larger scope of what we do in the lab. So it may not look like it, but I've actually been studying mechanisms of cancer development for 22 years.
Wow.
So I trained at Yale and Columbia, and then I came to the UPMC Hillman Cancer Center as a professor in 2011, and this is my 9th year. I'm starting my 10th year here at Pitt. I can't even believe it. So my real inspiration for the work that we do in our lab is my grandfathers, who both had untimely deaths due to cancer. My mother's father died when he was only 32 years old from stomach cancer, and my mom was 4. And my father's father was in his early 40s when he passed away, and my father was 16 years old. So these tragedies have always been on our minds. And when my parents reached the ages they did when their parents died, we always were planning what to do if something happened. And so, these backup plans really, I would say that cancer's really been like a part of my life for as long as I can remember. So in my own lab, what we study are genes that are mutated in primarily breast and ovarian cancers. And doctors frequently look for these mutations in patients. And they're called RAD51 paralogs. These are kind of funny names. But unlike other more common breast and ovarian cancer genes, we know a lot less about these genes. And so we know that the RAD51 paralogs are important for preventing cancer. And we know if they're not working properly, then cancer can develop. And we know that individuals with RAD51 mutations are more likely to get breast and ovarian cancers, but we don't know why. And so the questions that I'm asking and that Sarah are asking are, what do these genes do in a cell to prevent cancer? Can we predict who's likely to get cancer if a mutation is found? Are there environmental factors that may influence who may be more likely to develop cancer? And just because someone might be at risk for cancer doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to develop cancer. So can we better predict who might be more likely to get cancer based upon their environmental exposures as well as their genes? And so that's kind of like the big picture of what we do. And Sarah is studying, and she can tell you about this, one particular RAD51 paralog and what it does and how it prevents cancer. And we're very grateful for the ACS. I actually have a daughter who's the exact same age as Gabby, so this is like particularly meaningful for me. And I was actually talking to my own daughter about speaking with you and the work that you're doing and the importance. And I think we're all really touched by the story. And of course, we'd love to give you a tour 6 feet away with the mask. But I really want you to know that I make sure that every very hard-earned penny is put to good use, and that we really try to think very creatively and collaboratively, and we really want to make the biggest impact on our understanding of cancer and its treatment, and that we could not do this without the American Cancer Society, and that I can't think of a better organization to raise money for. It's truly an honor to be a recipient of this grant. I'm so touched. I want to be on your relay team. So cool. So, and I'll let Sarah take over.
So like Kara mentioned, there are this group of molecular machines called the RAD51 paralogs. And while they were identified nearly 30 years ago, it's just now that some of them have begun to be present on breast cancer screening panels. And I'm studying one of RAD51 paralog complex that's even less is known. So I think what we're doing is really important. We do know that it is mutated in breast and ovarian cancers, as well as prostate cancers. But we have no idea the very, very specific details of how it works. And so we kind of I like to think about it as a tool for a job. Like in every single one of our cells, we have our DNA, and there are all these tools that help maintain the DNA so that mutations and damage doesn't affect it. And basically, the SHU complex, the Rad51 paralog complex that I'm studying, we're just trying to figure out what it does normally so that we can understand if those mutations that are found in various types of tumors have a really important effect. And so we think that it does have an important role because types of environmental toxicants that we experience just in our everyday environment can cause damage to our DNA. And we know that the proteins that I'm studying, the SHU complex, is involved in helping repair. So it's the tool that helps repair. And if it gets mutated, we think that this is very, very detrimental and maybe playing a large role in cancer. We're trying to understand how that all happens so that we can, eventually, Kara can eventually, hopefully, develop some sort of tool to inhibit that.
And you in your own lab after you rock this project.
Yeah, hopefully. And so the reason, one of the great things about my background is that I'm a biochemist by training. I obtained my PhD in Iowa. And the really cool thing about biochemists is that we isolate things individually. So we can isolate just the regular SHU and we can see how it does all of its jobs. And then we can make the exact protein that is mutated and found in cancers, and we can see how that affects its regular job. So that means that we could take a mutation from someone's tumor and know exactly why and how that affects their cancer. So I think it's really remarkable to be able to be in this time when precision medicine is advancing so quickly. I never dreamed that I would have the opportunity to do these types of studies. And yeah, so I thank you so very much. This has enabled me to stay here in Pittsburgh and do my work for 3 more years and hopefully find out everything we can.
Cool.
Great. Well, thank you. That's exciting. I mean, we don't get it even on my side of ACS, and I know Daryl and James, we don't get an opportunity to really kind of hear directly from our researchers. So this was great.
Yeah.
Daryl, James, do you guys have any questions?
No, because that was a lot. I was trying to take busy notes the whole way along because I promised the team, at least the core, these 20 or 25 people who are just there all the time, moms and dads, they're just super excited about this. We were going to have an official presentation, and because of COVID, we weren't able to do that. So we're meeting this Saturday, as a matter of fact. So this is perfect timing. We're meeting this Saturday to continue our sorting for hopefully our August relay. And so I'm trying to take all these great notes so I can at least sound a little bit less than stupid as I explain to them what you guys are trying to do out there. So yeah, no questions yet, but I look forward to future, just opportunities to talk about it, see how far along we're getting. Pittsburgh is not far from where we are, and James and I have already talked about a road trip, so we'd be excited about doing that.
So where are you located?
We're actually in York, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he lives not far from here, a little town, and same likewise for me. James and I have been together at the same company as well as on the same relay team. We've been together probably 11 years now on the team.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I couldn't do it without him. He's kind of the I'm like the PR guy, and I do some of it because of working in inventory. Of course, he works with me now, which is really good. So in the beginning, I had to do a lot of this, but he's the nuts and bolts about setting up when we do these events, and it's something to talk about it, but it's even better to see it. Maybe I could send you guys some pictures because it's incredible when you get hundreds, if not a couple thousand people that all rush in and they want it. It's like supermarket sweepstakes. They all want these bargains so bad. And I kid you not, they'll stand in line for 2 or 3 hours before the event opens.
Wow.
And they bring shopping carts that they've got at the local grocery store. They'll bring wheelbarrows.
Oh my God.
It's amazing what they will bring to put food in. They bring luggage, anything with wheels. One year we saw a lady who had a baby carriage, no baby, and it had flat tires, and she was pushing it around loaded with food because, like I say, the deals that we can give people for organic food is just unheard of.
Yeah.
So
But we could not be more grateful for your commitment to cancer research, for your funding of our work specifically, and your commitment to the American Cancer Society. I just love this society. I mean, I've gotten funding from lots of societies, and I'm very grateful for every penny, but there's something very special about the ACS.
yeah.
And it's just, we're really, really happy to be a part of basically your team, I guess. So
Welcome to the Naturals. I guarantee you there's room for you. Yeah.
And Daryl, if I could share, I'm Casey Jankowski. I work here in Pittsburgh for the American Cancer Society. I had a little technology issue at the beginning, so I missed the introductions, but I work here in Pittsburgh, so I've got to see Kara's lab and tour it, and have met Sarah last year. We did our first, we started to bring together all the researchers here because at the University of Pittsburgh and a Hillman Cancer Center, just right now we have $7 million in cancer research grants that are funded there, just to give you an indication of the level of talent that's coming out of the institution. So we brought them together last year. We're doing it again this year, which is when we would have presented Sarah with her award, but because of COVID, we had to postpone it. But when I heard about this, the team was behind selecting Sarah to get this money. I've worked for this society for 15 years. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I was like, how is that even possible? That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. And to think that you could pick her work is really, really awesome. Last year when we got the researchers together, we talked to them about what the society does, because for many of the researchers, I think that's the extent of what they know about the American Cancer Society. So we talked about a lot about what the programs and services are, et cetera, but also about what the events are. So what Relay for Life is, what Making Strides Against Breast Cancer is, which is great for them to know, but then to know that a team from one of these events actually, selected, it's just super cool.
Yeah.
And out there too, Kara's been great enough to do some videos for us, just talking about her work that I can send to you. And I think once all of this settles down a little bit, we could come in and do a second video to feature Sarah and, get a little more in depth, specifically, thanking the team. And so they, since you guys are in New York and we're here in Pittsburgh, so that they can see, exactly what's kind of going on here and what their money's doing.
I love it. I guarantee you there's a lot of excitement, and we've talked about it, and with COVID, we've kind of quieted down, but I guarantee you Saturday when I tell them I've got some information, they're all going to be super excited, and I'll even be able to say Rad 51 Paralog like I know what I'm talking about.
You did that perfectly. I don't even think my husband could say it properly.
You could name something that, I mean, it's just really cool. It's rad, right? I mean, it's
yes.
So we wrote a review called Radical New Insights into Rad 51 Regulation. I'm a fan of a good pun.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
And
excited.
this is Amy. I just want to jump in. I'm Amy Anderson. I work with Casey in Pittsburgh, and I've also had the opportunity to work with and meet both Kara and Sarah. So, and I would throw that out to you. Casey and I would love to host you, and James. So you come out here, we will show you a good time and show you the lab, and it's just an awesome place to be. And just the Hillman Cancer Center in general is just a really incredible institution. So we would love to have you come out. We're really proud of the expansion we're, locally we're doing with research. So we're hoping that they'll give us all this yellow and green, and wherever we're at now will soon be okay, and then we can do some sharing again, because it would be wonderful. So you're cordially invited to attend, to come to Pittsburgh anytime, and we'll take care of it.
That'd be great.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a bit of a diary that we've been trying to collect pictures, so I could definitely give you, a little bit of our case history and how we've developed in our team, and it'd be pretty interesting, and just show you what all we get. It's just quite a group of people. When we actually do an event, we have over 100 volunteers that have to actually make it work. So out of that 25 small group that we get together and do the work, we still have a lot of other people who show up and just pitch in, and it's a big thing in the area. It really is. It's a cool event.
Yeah, and like I said, you're one of 17 teams across the country that have this award. It's a very exclusive group of volunteers for sure, and it really shows just how hard you guys really work, and how, and for you and for the other teams that qualify, it's not a season thing. It's not like, okay, for this few weeks we're gonna fight cancer. You guys do it all year long.
Yeah.
Like it's your focus, and we can't thank you enough for the dedication that you and James bring to that outreach.
Yeah.
Amy, Casey, I'm so glad you guys were ready to jump on. I know it was kind of a last minute for both of you, but boy, I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah,
I think we have a great opportunity to connect all of you in the future, and kind of see where this goes. Kara, Sarah, thank you for the information. I learned a lot, and it's really exciting just seeing, how the mission actually works in our communities, and the research that you're doing, and how that comes back to us and how it applies to our life. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. This is great. Thanks for
Yes, thank
including
you
us.
so much.
So I did record the call. I hope that's okay. If the recording works, I'll send it out to everybody. And you guys, Daryl, you can have it for your team if you want to send it out to your team.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll check it. I should get it here in a few minutes if it worked. And then we'll get that out. And then I'll connect everybody in emails too, just for you have that information too.
That'd be perfect. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks.
Joe, was there anything you wanted to say about the grants or anything along those lines? I know you've been on a few of these calls too.
Yeah, hi, Steve. Thanks. Big thanks to Daryl and James. I work in the extramural research department, Karen, Sarah, so I don't know if you know Dr. Mike Mellner. He's a friend of mine. I don't have anything to add, except I hope you guys are holding up during the pandemic. I saw from your progress reports, it was a year ago you were in Tel Aviv, Dr. Bernstein. And I thought it was neat that y'all were talking about how you met. If you're, I think I read in your grant application, Sarah, that y'all met in Spain at a conference there. So it just goes to show you how much we've lost with this pandemic and how hard it is for, you can't go to Dr. Kimple's lab in Wisconsin to chat with him about science. And I know you guys must really be looking forward to things getting back to normal.
So I invited Dr. Mellner to my talk when I was at Emory recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he came, and he also brought another person from the ACS too. It was really
that's
fun.
great. I didn't know you were here in town for Emory. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a good guy and huge fan of your lab's work. So.
Oh, good. I'm a huge fan of the ACS, and of course, Dr. Mellner has been a wonderful advocate for us, as well as our local staff, Amy and Casey, who are always fighting for us, and it's a pleasure to really be a part of this organization.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps us up. I appreciate everybody's time. Congratulations, Daryl and James, on the award. It's well deserved. Kara, Sarah, congratulations on receiving the grant.
Yeah.
It's just a great connection. So thank you all for the time. And like I said, this is just step one in this relationship. So thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you.
Bye. Thanks, y'all.
Good stuff.
Bye.